All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Jiu-Jitsu Couples Therapy. Therapy is now in session. What are we talking about today, Susan?
Are you really never too old to start jujitsu, fact or fiction?
Oh, yeah.
And also, men, how do you train jujitsu with women?
I think we were having an intervention for a lot of men today, uh, and
We're going to
allowing
help
them the
you.
freedom to train with women properly. But before we do, remember in this podcast we discuss training together as a couple, being a martial arts family, life as an older jujitsu athlete, keeping the proper mindset and perspective, and so much more.
Some of that, so much more, however, is not dissecting matches, talking about move sets or anything like that, or usually not talking about the drama going on in the jujitsu world. That we're really focused on training in the gym and us training as a couple. I will also note that we have trained in a lot of gyms, we've trained with a lot of people, and we have stories from all over the place. So if we think we're talking about you, we're probably not.
Or
Or we are.
but before we start out, I think that uh, you know, see 2 or 3 episodes ago that jujitsu really have a problem is that we now see that Andre Galvao is back at Atos and surrounding himself by the young female athletes and um, I said it in the last podcast or the podcast that we did about Atos, and I'll say it again. We have a problem, folks. Like, we have a serious problem in the jiu-jitsu community, and no one is taking this seriously. Oh, we've removed ourselves. Sure, they've taken a serious financial hit. They've lost a lot of associations, good gyms, good people. Sure. But, there's no repercussions. I know that there's an ongoing investigation. I think at least the investigation should play out before we start talking about what is the proper way
Yeah.
to come back from something like this.
Yeah.
I am definitely not saying that people can't rehab their image, that they can't mea culpa and be forgiven. I believe in forgiveness. Um, um, in cases like this, it's definitely a lot harder. And we don't know if other people have come forward. And, for those people who say, well, they're just accusations, again, this is a criminal matter that's with the police of San
It,
Diego.
it,
So,
some kind, we have to, at the very least, like you said, go through the investigation before reinstalling him as an instructor. I'm sorry, unless he is only, you know what? Even there has to be some kind of penalty to pay when you have a series of young women saying that there was an issue there. That you have to, at the very least, finish that investigation before you allow this to come right back and potentially open up again. Especially when there's absolutely uh, no apology of any even potential wrongdoing, and maybe that's part of his thing. Well, I'm not gonna say sorry for something that I don't feel like I did, but I don't know. I really don't like what I'm seeing.
well, I think it's just the speed at which it happened.
Yeah, it
Like,
was like a month ago, wasn't it?
yeah, maybe 6 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it's like, psych, we're back, and guess what? We're running this again. I'm teaching again. It just feels it to me. It feels like, okay, there is something here. Like, you immediately knew something was wrong. They stepped away. Everybody, lots of people disbanded and de-affiliated and
Mhm.
whatnot. And then it's like, oh well, the smoke is cleared. And this is why jujitsu gets this cult mentality. It's like, okay, well, I'm cool now. I'm just going to come back from this. And there are plenty of people that are sticking by him. And I don't. Time will tell what actually is going to happen. But I just find it very, very troubling that the jujitsu community isn't like, whoa, even if they don't believe he's guilty, like just like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's pump the brakes on this, you know, at least pretend like you care.
The thing is, and we've said it before. I mean, everybody's saying it. What do what do people have to lose? The
The accusers, you
the
mean?
accuser. Okay, right. What do the accusers have to lose? They have everything to lose by coming out and saying something. By denying it, you have nothing to to lose. Like, well, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Why would somebody come out and say something just to ruin you? Like, that doesn't make sense unless this person is an inherently evil person, or the women are inherently evil and then just want to, for whatever reason, want to take you down. What do they have? You know,
Well, I mean, the stakes are high for everybody in this situation, and that's why I'm like, he doesn't understand the gravity of the situation, or he doesn't care, and or the jiu-jitsu community writ large doesn't care.
yeah,
And that to me is the most troubling thing about it. And that's kind of the last thing that I'll say about it. So um, I I think we want to have a back and forth today about, are you truly never too old to start jujitsu? There's a lore of, I started when I was in my 60s and I got my black belt in my 80s. Okay, good for you. Um, or we started what, in our 40s. I was 40 when I started. Um, Great. That feels pretty old most of the time in the gym, to be a white belt
yeah.
specifically. And so I think we're going to go kind of, I'm going to state my case that it probably is too late for you to start jujitsu. And I'll give my case why. Like,
Unpopular opinion.
well, I mean, I think number one would be gyms want memberships. And so
Yeah.
if they're like, it's never to look at, this is a 53 year
Speaking of, like,
old.
what do we have to gain and lose here? Gyms have everything to gain by making everybody start, even if
Right.
you're in your.
They don't have to pay your medical bills or ice you down after class, or pay for your rehab or anything like that, your PT. They just want members. So let's just get the business part out
They
of the
have you
way.
sign waivers for a reason.
That's right. That's right. And there's no age related waiver. They're like, oh, all right, got to get this guy, gal, sign the waiver before they might trip going onto the mat. So I am saying that this is fiction, and yeah, we're having a little fun with it, but I think that there's truth in here as well. Yeah, everybody says, well, the best time to plant a tree, to start jujitsu, whatever, was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
The next best time is today. And as someone who has a very large orchard, I would agree with that. But I also would caveat it with the wisdom that it takes that tree many, many years to grow
Mhm.
and start to bear fruit, start to provide shade, a habitat and an ecosystem for bugs and birds and whatnot.
In the meantime, you just have to take extra care of it. You have to,
That's
you
right.
know,
It
feed it.
you've got to stake it, you got to spray it, you've got to mulch the crap out of it. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into a 3 foot tall stick that's in the ground. The deer come and eat the leaves. We don't think about that in a 40-year-old, walnut tree, but yeah, um, there's a lot of maintenance and prevention
Mhm.
to get to that point, and that's the same with your body. You need to steel yourself and prepare yourself for the aches and pains that go with physical activity. But then this isn't just you're joining the pickleball league, you're also fighting people.
Mhm.
And as an older person, you're going to get hurt. Like, let's not beat around the bush. You're getting hurt. Tell me, your shoulder, you can't lift your shoulder, your left shoulder.
Right shoulder.
I have no meniscus in my knee. My knee, I have serious nerve damage in my elbow that makes my hand spasm. I can't pick anything up with any sort of weight with this arm, been to countless broken bones, countless rehabs. That's a part of life. And so, what I'm saying, you're probably too old to start jujitsu. Sure, do young people get hurt? Of course they do.
They
But
bounce back a lot faster.
young, that's just a fact of biology. We really have to think about like biology. So you're a 40-year-old person, you're thinking about starting jujitsu. Great, good for you.
Just remember, you're not growing cells anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Everything within your body is diminishing at this point. So, yeah. Secondly, you probably, or is that thirdly, jujitsu is an obsession sport, right? This isn't just something that we kind of casually do. I know very few people who can casually do jujitsu,
Yeah, that's true.
where they attend maybe 3 classes a month, and as an older person, good luck getting good that way.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to go multiple times a week. Maybe you start off at 2 classes a week, maybe up it to 3. I mean, when we started, yeah, when I was 39 or 40, and I physically couldn't go to more than 2 classes a week because my body hurt so bad.
Yeah, it's interesting to think back to those times because now, I mean, my shoulder hurts, and whatnot. That's really my only problem is my shoulder. My shoulder hurt with or without
You were
jujitsu.
complaining about your knee yesterday
Yeah, my
after
knee
class.
periodically sometimes, but again, that wasn't jujitsu. It just sometimes will hurt, and then it'll hurt for like a week or two, and then it'll stop hurting.
Well, you bring up a great point. You get hurt in regular life too.
Well, this is
You know?
this is the saying, and I was going to wait until my rebuttal,
Okay, well, you
but
can wait.
people say, "Look, you're going to get older. You're getting aches and pains no matter what. Would you rather them come from sitting around and being sedentary, or would you rather them from actually doing physical activity?" So,
Well,
um,
um,
but I used to get actually hurt, like my ribs got hurt
oh yeah, that's
a,
right.
a few times. My knee really did get hurt a few times. Um, when I was a spazzy white belt and I didn't know what I was
Well,
doing.
that's my next point.
I
Is
don't get
that
hurt anymore because I
as
know better what I'm
a
doing.
white belt, you don't know how to protect yourself.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't know, like, okay, the next sequence of this move, if I do this with my knee is turning inside out.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of what jujitsu is for me is protecting myself and understanding when I'm safe to move
Mhm.
and when I'm not safe. But, you know, you're only 50% of the equation. There's someone else there with you.
Which is why you have to, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. You have to be very careful about who your training partners are. And when you're new, so this goes into, are you too old to start doing jujitsu? You already have to have a very good awareness of the room and who is safe to train with and who isn't safe to train with. Because I guarantee you that younger people have no idea what you're going through if you're an older grappler.
Yeah,
Don't know, don't care.
it's impossible for them to put. I don't. It's impossible for anybody. I don't care, upper belt, lower belt, head coach, to put themselves in the mind and physical body of someone who's 15 years older than them.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't, and it's not their fault. They don't. They just don't know. And you can explain it to them, and you can go, well, I'm. These are my concerns. It's just going to fall on deaf ears. I always tell people, like, hey, holler at me in 15 years. Tell me, first of all, you're still training at my age. And secondly,
Right.
What's going on with your body now?
Right.
But you can't help that. You've got to look out for yourself.
Yep.
And as a white belt, you don't know how to look out for yourself.
Yep.
I got my supraspinatus, my labrum, and my rotator cuff tore as a white belt because I just didn't know what this big blue belt was doing to me.
You don't know the right way to move away from the movement, and easier. sometimes
and
to move towards it. I mean, thinking about omoplatas, like, what is this weird thing that's happening to me?
I,
Um,
agreed. And let's face it, you're not in the kind of shape that you need to be. I don't care what else you do to do jujitsu.
yeah, it's true.
You're
It's a whole
more
different thing.
likely to get hurt because you're not as flexible. Your bones are brittler. You've just got the wear and tear of life on you, and uh, uh, expect to get injured. If you can deal
Yes.
with that, if it doesn't affect your work, your family life, the other hobbies that you like to do, notice that most people who do jujitsu, they don't have other hobbies. Jujitsu is the
Is
thing.
the hobby. Yeah.
Why is that? Because, like I said, it's an obsession sport, but also jujitsu leaves very little time for other things in life. And as an older person, you have a lot of other things in life.
Yeah.
You've got kids, you've got big work responsibilities, you have a house that you got to take care of. Maybe your parents are getting older, all these things. And so that is my case that I've laid for you are too old to start jujitsu. Go bird watching.
Well, how old do you think is really too old? I mean, it
Well,
really
I mean,
obviously it's individual, depends on the
you know,
individual, but
obviously we're playing roles here, and I am playing kind of the contrarian. I don't think that there's an age that you can't start doing jujitsu.
mhm.
I just think, hmm, it's almost should you? It's like, yeah, we can go bomb Iran, but should we?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I I come down on the other side. We're absolutely start if you want to do jujitsu. I don't care if you're 20, 40, 60, 80 might be a little old to start, but it's definitely still not too old to do it. Um, but I do think that it has to come with fair warning. Now, like Joshua said, we started. I think I was either 41 or 42. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was definitely in my 40s. Um,
Yeah.
and again, I have now completely blocked it. The fact that I really was hurt all the time when we first started. Like I would have to take months off because, but it was weird injuries, like rib injuries, because of I'm naturally flexible, and so I would do these natural like inversion type things, but my body wasn't used to it, and I would get tweaks or people would push on me when I was in a position, not really understanding the position. Um, and so, with that caveat, you're probably going to get hurt a lot. And can you deal with that? Now, 11 going into now, going into 12 years of doing jujitsu, I'm I'm never injured from jujitsu. I have my injuries that flare up that I've had forever, but
Yeah.
I don't get hurt doing jujitsu. Now I'm very, very careful with who I train with.
Yeah. But also, I would say another thing about that would be that it's different for men and women.
For sure.
That a man looks at me and I can say, yeah, look, I'm 52, 50, 51, like I ain't here to win gold medal today. And they'll just try to blast through me. For a woman, and we're going to talk about this in the second half of the show, it's different in that, number one, the women's, if you have decent women, that's an if, something for another podcast. But if you have different, women training partners, even if they're a lot bigger or whatever, better, they'll usually understand that, okay, this is the speed at which, this is the ferocity at which I train with you.
Mhm.
For guys, they don't have that meter in their brains. Most guys don't. Um, it's it's either all or nothing. And again, we'll talk about that.
I definitely do agree with that. And is something, it's a very, very real thing. So not only am I careful of who I'm training with, I'm careful about what I do. And meaning I, especially like right now, we're at a gym that's newer for us, and I'm not going out and looking for submissions or anything like that. What I'm doing is I'm paying attention to how people are rolling with me. I'm being very, very protective of myself. I'm a very defensive player, and that helps me to not get injuries, because what really exposes you to potential injury is going for submissions. It's
No, that's not, to me, that's not what,
I
to me, what
I
it's,
think getting out, it's all the position before submission. I get that's what I'm talking about. If you are consolidating where you are and being very structured and slow about it, then no, you're not exposing yourself. But for me in particular, the way that I see, like, if I'm going to go for something, I have to open myself up in order to get there. Um, Even if it means, okay, so now I'm not hunched in like this, I open up my body and now somebody can get in and smash me, and I have more trouble with it.
I'll throw a counter argument out there that being too defensive is not a good way to stay injury free, because then you're having people hunt on you, hunt
No,
those
that's interesting.
submissions. I'm, I hear
That
what you're
does
saying. I
happen.
hear what you're saying. Like,
That does happen.
I,
No, that's a
position
legitimate
for
point.
submission, all that, and yes, you have to threat things. You have to threaten things. You have to
Agreed.
get around somebody's neck. You've got to lock, isolate an arm. You know, and but to the greater point of what I was saying was that, number one, too defensively, you're not also growing as jujitsu. Like, if I'm learning something new, I have to expose myself. If I'm doing a new guard, a new moveset, a new submission, and I'm trying to hone it in, you're going to make a ton of mistakes before you get it right. And when you make a mistake, you expose yourself.
But that's not what I'm talking about. So I'm again talking about, now I'm getting to know the room.
Understood.
And so I'm being extra defensive, looking at how people are working with me. I mean, you can tell in not even 30 seconds if somebody is playing, just having fun and playing the game with you, or if they are going for full on attack mode. If I get the hint, oh, somebody's playing around, oh, I'm exposing myself all over. Like I'm trying new things, I'm doing fun things, and I'm not worried about being submitted. When somebody is, and I'm going in for the attack, I am not going to open that up, because even I don't care about getting submitted. I care about getting hurt. While
I think you're making my argument for me. But you do have other arguments on there, Um uh number one, I think, something that we were talking about in the car on the way to church this morning was that how you look at yourself and your body now, being a jujitsu athlete in your 50s.
all right, I'm in way. Yeah, thank you for bringing me back to the point that I was actually trying to make. Is that I'm in way, way, way better shape than I ever was, really, in my adult life. Like, um, through my 20s, my 30s, I wasn't in horrible shape, but I could kick myself. I could kick the ass of my younger self now. Like,
If I could go back in time,
pretty.
I'd kick my own ass.
I could solidly do that. I mean, I can run up and down stairs like almost endlessly. I feel strong, and I can, get up off the floor. If I'm sitting on the ground, I don't have to use my hands to get up. Like, these are all things that jujitsu gave to me.
Well, there's one that you haven't mentioned, and since you made a point for me, I will give you back a favor. And that's as someone who is older, you have the confidence to know that you can also defend yourself and not be
Yeah.
a easy target for someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole reason why I got into jujitsu. And because I realized, holy cow, I was, like I said, 39, 40, whatever, that I couldn't handle myself against people who were bigger, stronger, faster, all that, and that I was slowing down. And I considered myself to be in good shape. I was put, thousands of miles on my bicycle every year. Um, but I think you've got one more point to make, and that's
It also, not only does jujitsu help with strength and all of that, it also helps with balance, agility, and grip strength. Grip strength, well, depending on if you've had your hand broken,
I'm going to
multiple
fall
times.
down and break my hip as an old man.
It's known that grip strength is a key indicator of frailty, right?
It's
Because if you
longevity.
for longevity, okay, it's because if you're falling
It is.
down, you can catch yourself.
It is the metric that I don't know the scientific term for these people that study aging,
Yeah.
but that's the metric. It's not, can you bench this much? How fast can you run a mile? What's your resting heart rate? It's grip strength,
Right.
for the reasons that Susan said. Can you catch yourself when you're falling?
And here's the thing is that we talk a lot of older grapplers, like, I have for sure have arthritis in my fingers. If you saw it up close of my hands, they are not pretty. I just, I take it as a pride, like, oh, I have jujitsu fingers. And so even though my hands hurt in the morning, right? It's hard to do this in the morning.
I have to warm my hands up.
Yeah.
Which is an insane thing to think about. So speaking of that, 30-something-year-old upper belt or coach, like, not understanding,
Yeah.
do you have to warm your fingers up?
So that they can literally move. Just move.
To make a fist.
Yeah, to make a fist. I can't make fists in the morning. But just the fact that my hands are trained to grab, that's going to help my longevity. And so, and then balance and agility, hugely, hugely important for as you age. So I think that we can, even though we're on two different sides, there's definitely clearly common ground. I've made some of your points. You've made some of my points. It's hard to start. And you have to, if you're going to start as an older grappler, there are some things that you will be needing to pay attention to as you go. Number one, what's your tolerance for injury? And how well do you read a room?
Yeah, but these are, again, to my argument, these are things that you can't know. You can't know them because you've never done anything like this before. Now, if you're someone you're, third Dan and TKD or something, you're moving, your situation is different. I'm not talking to you, but most of us came from, oh, I played field hockey in high school, and that was 20 years ago.
Right. Well, and as a white belt, white belts train with white belts. They get hurt. Exactly. They get, mixed in every once in a while, definitely with blue belts and sometimes with higher belts. But the reality is that white belts, for the most part, train with white belts. I did it. Everybody, that's just usually the way it goes. I'm not going to obviously say it's always the way it goes, but it's usually the way that it goes. And, we're all spastic when we're white belts because we don't know what we're doing, right? It's a normal state of affairs, but
it's the old adage, as when you're a white belt, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do something. That's what being a white belt is about. And when in reality, once you get to be hopefully you know this as a purple belt, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to pause.
Mm.
So I prevent injury, reversal, exposing myself, all that. That's, you know, we teach jujitsu as move sets, as can you do this? Are you this flexible? Can you get into this guard? No, jujitsu is concepts. And that's a real important concept. I don't know what's going on. I say this even as a, very senior brown belt. There's some times when I'm like, what in the holy hell is going on here?
Mm.
And then I pause and I look if I can see where my leg is or my arm or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, so it's going that way. Now I need to kind of, dead arm and pull
Hmm.
myself out of it.
Hmm.
As a white belt, you're just like, I'm pinned and I'm freaking out. I don't like it. I don't know what to do. I better just do something.
Yeah.
Because what do coaches say? You don't know what to do, just do something.
Yeah.
Like
I have
come out of
totally,
so many coaches' mouth. You don't know what to do, do
I have
something.
totally said that to people. I've totally said that to people myself. So,
Well, you're one of the people I'm talking about. But anything else making your case?
uh, no, no, I think,
Well,
I hope I made a good case. I mean, you have to stick with it. You have to be prepared, but then it has so many rewards, so many rewards.
yeah. Well, I would say that one of the additional things, because I'm looking at your notes, that you said not everyone has to train to be a world champion,
Yeah.
so we can protect our health by knowing our limits. And that's a good thing to know. But again, when you're a white belt, you don't know that. Uh,
That's why people should listen to this podcast.
okay, so moving on, we kind of touched on it earlier. Um, when you're training jujitsu as a man, you starting older, male versus female, that it's a lot different. Women tend to protect the women in the room if you're at a good gym,
Hmm.
and will kind of pull you aside, train with you, even if they're black belts and you're just a day one white belt.
Hmm.
That they'll talk, and training is a lot less ferocious. But for a guy on guy, it's not. And so it's I win. I must win. I must impose my will. And yes, that is what jujitsu is about. I'm not discounting that. That is a very important aspect of jujitsu. It's not the only aspect, though,
Yeah.
and especially as an older white belt. But there's a flip to that that comes up a lot, and that's that women feel left out, feel like they're not quite accepted, they're not quite part of the team when they roll with guys who kind of just let maybe these guys just kind of don't really fight back.
Hmm.
They give up positions really easy. They get
Hmm.
swept on things that normally they would never succumb to these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then it's good job, good job.
It's belittling.
Yeah, and I see so many women that are frustrated with it, like so I think we want to write a couple of prescriptions in this therapy session about number one, what can women do, and number two, how can men get better at kind of understanding. A lot of what we talk about on this podcast is being empathetic towards another person that you
Yeah.
have, maybe you don't even know very well, but you don't know any of their life experiences, but you need to be able to look at people, another core skill at jujitsu that isn't something that's going to get you promoted, and be empathetic as to who they are.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 250 pounds. You're a buck 75. Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of things going on here. You know, your leg is the size of my wrist, stuff like that. So, what do we say? Prescribing ways. So, it's for women to kind of get more out of their teammates, more aggression, more harder rolls, better training for them.
Um, I think that it has to start with communication. And um,
Well,
I mean, it's hard because there are either there's this dual thing where, and I think it actually might come from the same place, is that men don't typically want to lose to a woman. Now, I'm not saying this is
I
a
would say that's never.
yeah, okay. This is
I
but it is a gross generalization. It's a gross generalization. But men a lot of times don't want to lose to women, and so either either they're just like smashing and bullying, which I've had plenty of. I wouldn't say bullying, that's not fair, but smashing, like I'm not going to let you get anything, or completely swing to the other side is what you're talking about, and just kind of letting go of everything, and like, okay, well, clear, I'm letting this lady, beat me. She's
well,
not really beating me. I'm letting her get that sweep and letting her do this and that. Um,
I think it's, let me reframe this then,
okay.
because and I agree that it probably comes from the same place, a place of ego, but male ego. But what I'm saying is, for these women don't feel let into they're not part of the team. Like, they're not getting the usual treatment. They're not dummies. They watch everybody roll together, and they see that's a hard scrap. They're not giving any quarter, and then they roll with me, and they're like, just kind of flopping around. They're kind of letting me
Right.
get things. Maybe they're mansplaining that, oh, your armbar technique, it needs to do this, that, and the
So,
other
but
thing.
what can we do in order to help that not happen? I mean, the only thing that I can think of, I honestly don't know. The only thing that I can think of is communication. Like, hey, when you roll with me, I don't want you giving things up. If I don't have something, I don't have something. And trying to work with communication. I mean, I think that the prescription is that men need to learn how to be more technical. Women
Okay,
have to be more technical.
what's the prescription for treating a woman partner just like you would treat a guy partner? And
Yeah,
keeping in mind that a role with a guy and a guy versus a guy and a girl are different.
for sure.
They're fundamentally different things with fundamentally different objectives and results.
Hmm.
If What are the prescription for the female athlete, their male training partners, and the ecosystem of where they train?
I definitely think that there has to be um, very considerate activities that are brought into class that really train people to work together, and not even just men and women, but that 250-pound guy with the buck 50 guy. Like, how do they train well together? Because it's like you said, like, men kind of just go at it. They don't really care that much about the size difference, or the bigger guy doesn't care as much about the size difference. But how can we all work together so that we are training cohesively as a team, that women don't feel like, oh, people are just flopping over on me and letting me get stuff. Um, and I think that one of the things is flow rolling. So
So, so I would say that you brought up a really important thing. Two men with disparate sizes. The smaller guy, because I've been that smaller guy, is just going to take that smashing and just be like, man, that really sucked.
mhm,
And then for a woman, that same situation where now, say, this bigger, stronger person is letting them just kind of work. There's a difference between letting someone work
yeah,
and just being basically a rag doll, a training dummy. Um,
yeah,
and for the woman, there's two separate things going on in the head. Like, for the man, it's like, I suck, I'm so small, like, what can I do? For the woman, it's like, man, I don't really feel like I'm being respected as a training partner. And I think in both instances, the woman is probably more correct. Like, I'm not being respected as a training partner. So the you should you hear coaches say this all the time. You should be able at any age, at any rank, to be able to train with anybody else in the room. You
My
know,
favorite thing ever.
you hear people say that, and it's like, okay, yes, but what kind of ecosystem is this?
Right.
Have you fomented and created and cultivated an
A world in which that is actually true.
right? And so that's my point about this, is that ultimately it's down to the coaching staff of that gym. Are you talking about the differences between training with a man and training with a woman? Training with people of super disparate sizes? Are you teaching the extra large guy, hey, you know, training with this other smaller person, male or female, like, you got to consider the fact that you can actually crack a couple of their ribs doing that.
Right.
You know, like, we need to be able, and this is kind of the theme of this podcast, we need to be empaths to other people.
Yeah.
When I see someone much smaller than me, am I going to smash them, or am I going to roll, to your point, technically, in a precise and thought out manner? Am I going to be more cerebral? When I hear I need to be technical, I need to be more cerebral. I need to be thinking. I need to be intentional about what I'm doing.
That's a good way to describe it.
And reactive in an appropriate way.
Mhm.
Where, yes, sometimes it is appropriate to smash someone. Not all the time. And if that, or sometimes it's appropriate to let someone get that sweep.
Mhm.
Whether that's to prevent an injury or just to, that they've been working on it. They almost got it. I'm just going to break fall. I'm going to fall over. And then I'm going to be like, maybe I'll give them like, hey, great job. I see you working on that. Cool. Keep going.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that gym culture brought on by the leaders of the gym is absolutely so important. It's so important. But you have to do more than just talk about it. Talking about it is one thing, and actually making it a normalized thing that, hey, everybody should be able to train with everybody here. That comment shouldn't be placed on the individual grappler. It should be placed on the gym. Everybody at this gym should be able to train with everybody else. And if they're not, then we have something wrong and there needs to be a discussion.
Agreed. And this is to my point about, we can't put it on a brand new woman white belt at the gym to be able to have to speak up. I see this advice given a lot. Well, just speak up. Tell your training partner.
You know what? I'm not a brand new white belt. I'm a brown belt, an older lady brown belt, and I still have a hard time with that. If coach tells me to, go with somebody, or there's nobody left in the room, I'm probably going to do it. I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to do it. I should be able to handle myself because I've been told that, and it's, yeah,
right.
It shouldn't come to that.
We're looking at it from bottom up, when we know that jiu-jitsu is a hierarchy. It's top down.
Yeah.
That the head coach, the black belt, that's the man. And if that's what they say, I should be able to train with anyone in this room. Oh, I wonder why I can't train with everybody in this room. It must be me. No,
I wonder why that person always hurts me.
It's not you. It's either the leadership, or it could be that individual that needs to be talked to. It's how the head coach handles things. Okay, we have an unspoken rule. We don't have to say it in front of this new woman that walks in. We know a new woman walks in, this woman blue belt, that woman purple belt, whatever. They come and they grab, they pull them aside. Hey, this is what's going on. Why we have this culture of things. And it shouldn't be like, hey, come on over here with us because you don't want to be over there.
Right.
which
It's
happens at a lot of gyms
yeah.
with women. You see the women segregate and be like, yeah, there's women that
We're
maybe they
being
know.
protective as opposed to being inviting.
Yeah, yeah,
And a lot of it also comes down to, that just the general ego in the gym. In fact, a lot of it does, and that comes also from the top down. But I mentioned flow rolling. I do think that having some actual learning moments, so not just talking about, but let's actually try this and let's experience this where, I don't know, everybody in the room get with somebody who's totally different size than you. And we work together, we go at 50%, there's no submissions, and all you have to do is keep moving.
yeah,
You have to keep moving. And then this, number one, trains people to work with people of all different shapes and sizes and genders. And it removes the ego out of it because there's no submissions. It removes the smashing and all that because you have to keep moving. And I think that the more that people do that, then the more natural it'll come in quote unquote live rounds, where you're really going. So I think a dual approach. If you had to do one or the other, top down culture of the gym is absolutely number one. You should be able to roll with everybody at your gym because you can roll with everybody at your gym,
yeah,
and it's a safe space.
yeah. I mean, most gyms don't do flow rolling at all, um, and for a variety of reasons. Either no, we need to spar hard at this gym. That's what we do at this gym. We don't flow, or they don't know how, or they just don't have the time. I only have so much time in my class to, do, run laps around the gym and,
I
high
say
knees and all that.
it's a great way to warm up.
Um, and so, flow rolling is just kind of what good is it? And I think that flow rolling is a place for you to understand why you should move the way that you should move. Flow rolling is a place that takes out the direness of never giving an inch,
Mm-hmm.
which is what happens when most men roll with most men. There's no giving an inch, and and then when they're rolling with women, this could be the opposite. I think that there's a lot of complex psychological things going on when a man trains with a woman who is not his partner and maybe not even a friend,
Mm-hmm.
right? It feels weird. I'm married to a woman who's sitting over there on the sidelines with my 3-year-old. Um, I don't quite know what to do. Usually I would like grab this person in, the chest and, open up their gi,
Right. Right.
like that feels really weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hangups because men have been conditioned since we were boys to view women differently. And that can mean a lot of different things. That can mean like, if you grew up in like say the church, you grew up thinking that women are, delicate flowers that we need to protect. Or you grew up in some other kind of household where well women do those chores and the men do these things. And so we view women through a different lens than we would view another man, no matter how big or how small,
Mm.
which means that a 300-pound guy has no problem smashing me in the mat because, well, you're a man, I'm a man, and this is what we do.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than you.
Right.
Um, and and we really have to shake, and this is what I keep coming back to, being empathetic with other types of people, that we have to shake ourselves loose from that. I don't want to call it patriarchy. It kind of is, but it just seems like such a loaded word nowadays. But we have to start. It starts with seeing women as an equal, right? But we're not equal. I'm much stronger than you.
Right.
Okay, I can adjust the way that I roll, And, what do some people say? Match tempo? I'll match tempo. Okay. That's the prescription for men. Match tempo with a woman. Is she unsure? She not know what she's doing? Okay, we'll match tempo. You know, I'm gonna, I'll do this all the time. Person doesn't seem to know what they're doing. I'll just let fall into their full guard. Most new people feel comfortable in full guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or half guard. Okay, I'll just play. We'll just fight. Let's just fight for the underhook
Mm-hmm.
there. You know, the female partner wants to get aggressive. Okay, I'm going to defend and retaliate, kind of thing.
Right. One thing that bigger, stronger people can do with smaller people, men and women alike, but especially if you're training with a woman, and especially if she is a lower belt, a white belt, blue belt, whatever. Use it like a drilling session. Like, examine what this person is working on. Okay, we fall into full guard, or we fall into half guard, just like you were saying. Like, think of it as a drill. Okay, I'm gonna, try to dig this underhook. I'm gonna try to dig this underhook. I'm gonna try to pick up and knee cut pass. Be doing things that you can do because you're a bigger, stronger person. You can kind of not force these things, but like, you can initiate the things that you want to do because you have the size and the brawn, and then both people get work, right? You're not flopping over, you're not just letting them doing stuff. You're actively threatening whatever their move is. I'm going to try to pass. I'm going to try to, get that. So think of it as more of a drilling.
Whatever it is that you're trying to work on as the bigger person, male person, to do that, I see with my own eyes, I see so many, okay, do you want to roll, woman? Yes. And then the guy immediately falls to his back. And you're like, okay, like, when would you ever do that? To me, that's almost disrespectful. You want to roll? Okay, we slap bump and I turtle.
Turtling irritates me. Falling to back is fine because I'm like, okay, I'll pass guard. I'll work on passing guard. But if some dude turtles up in general, I take that kind of like, oh, really? That's what you're gonna do? What am I supposed to do? I'm just gonna get on your back? Like, yeah, what is that about?
Yeah. I mean,
anyway,
I said this to someone a while back, and I really truly mean it. And we can end here with this, if you don't have anything else, is that my number one goal in jiu-jitsu now isn't promotions or learning new move sets or winning competitions or anything else. My number one goal is to roll with everyone in the room like I roll with my wife, which is, I don't care if I lose. There is an element of playfulness there, but I'm not striving to not win.
mm-hmm.
I am striving to, maybe work on something that I'm working on, and put us in positions to work. But there's no forcing of any issue, because I don't care if she taps me out. I don't care if she catches me. I want to roll like that with everyone. Of course, I'm gonna have to use my advantage with gravity on other people a little bit more than I will with you. But that's the way that I want to roll, and it's only been rolling for the last, more than a decade with a woman that's taught me that 10 years on. I just came up with that in my head like this past year. Oh my God, wait a second. I want to roll with everyone like I roll with my wife, because there's nothing. It's just the roll.
So I just thought of my closing comment about this, is instead of, I'm going to change my tune of saying, instead of just be technical, because you're right. Like, what does that mean?
I think it means different things to different.
It means different things to different people. Here's what you do: you play the game.
Ah.
What, does that drive you crazy? That's because that's what I always say. I just like to play the game. I just like to play the game. So I am never like going like beast mode or anything, because I like to play the game. So if you're on top, pass the guard. If you're on bottom, maintain your guard. If submissions come your way, you can get those submissions. Don't be stuck on anything, but play the game, people. I mean, be technical, play the game, roll with somebody like you would roll with your partner. All of these things, I think that flow roll, even if you don't know what that is, we told you the rules. Don't submit, keep on moving. All of these things lead to the same pathway, unless you're a dunce.
On that note, thank you everybody for joining us. Therapy is now out of session. We really appreciate you guys joining us today, and we'll hope to see you again real soon.
See you guys.